Okay, let us move to next question, that is question number 26. It says the angle of elevation of the top of a vertical tower from a point on the ground is 60 degrees. From another point 10 meter vertically above the first point, okay, its angle of elevation is 45 degrees. So what it says is, find the height of the tower. So it says that there is a tower and the angle of elevation of the top of this tower from a point is 60 degrees. And if I observe the same top from a point which is 10 meter vertically above the first point of observation, the angle of elevation will become 45 degrees. So this is the twist of the question. What it says is, if this is the horizontal, this is the horizontal plane, on this horizontal plane there is a tower like this. Let us say this A, B represents the tower, and the angle of elevation of this tower from a point on the ground. So it means if I am observing this tower from the ground, let us say this is the point on the ground, and to observe the top of this tower, my line of sight will be like this. This will be my line of sight, okay, and it says to observe this top, the angle of elevation is 60 degrees. It means if I am standing on the ground, I need to move my head 60 degree upwards to observe this point. So this angle is given as 60 degrees. Further it says, from another point 10 meter vertically above the first point. Okay, try to understand this word. It do not say that another point is 10 meter away from this point. Okay, it says that the another point is 10 meter vertically above this point. So what does this mean? It means that there is some small building here. Okay, there is some small building here. The height of the building is 10 meter. First I am observing this tower from the foot of this building. Okay, after that in the second observation I observe this tower from the top of this building. Okay, I can assume कि यहाँ पर एक बिल्डिंग है और मैं उस बिल्डिंग के एक बार बॉटम से देख रहा हूँ, उसके बिल्डिंग के फुट पे खड़े होके देख रहा हूँ, और सेकंड केस में हम उसके हेड पे, उसके टॉप पे खड़े होके इस टावर को ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं. So the second point of observation is this one. Let us assume this point is as C and this another point is D. So the line of sight for this particular point A, the top of the tower will be this one. This is the line of sight. So my angle of elevation will be, it will be vertical like this. Okay. Now this is the horizontal, and to observe the top, if I am standing at this D point, I need to move my head 45 degree upwards. So clearly this particular angle represents 45 degree angle of elevation, and my task is to determine the height of the tower. What is the tower? Tower is AB. So my task is to find the height of tower, that is to find the value of AB. Now from this D point, if I draw the horizontal, this is the point where this horizontal meets the tower. Let us say this point is E. I name this point as point E. Okay. Now if this CD is 10 meters, because this D point is 10 meter above, vertically above this C point. So if this CD is 10 meter, this EB is also 10 meter. So this is 10 meter. Okay. Now my task is to determine the value of AB. How to determine the value of AB? We have drawn the diagram. We have also identified the unknown quantity. The next approach, the next step that we need to do is to identify the right angled triangles in this question. right angle triangles, if I talk about right angle triangle, I can see ACB is one right angle triangle and ADE is another right angle triangle. So triangle ACB is one right angle triangle and another is ADE. So we have these two right angled triangles. If I observe the triangle ACB, in triangle ACB, this angle is given as 60 degree. With respect to this 60 degree, this AB represents the height, okay, the perpendicular, and this CB represents the base of the triangle, okay, base with respect to this 60 degree angle. So here this AB is the height and BC is the base. That's why I can write tan of angle 60 degree is equals to AB upon BC. Now the question comes that why I have used tan theta, why not cos theta, why not sin theta, why not any other ratio? It's because I can see in both these triangles, this ACB and ADE, one thing is common. That one thing is this BC and this DE. This BC is equal to DE. I can observe this. I can observe this from diagram. Why? Because both the points are at the same distance away from this tower. This D point is just vertically above this C point. It is not shifted horizontally. It is just vertically above this C point. That's why whatever the distance this C point has from the tower, the same distance this D point also has from the tower. That's why I can say this BC and DE are equal. So I can see both the triangles, only one side, this BC and this DE, both the sides are equal in both the triangles. That's why I can use this particular side. Now, so tan 60 degree, what is tan 60 degree? It is root 3, which is equals to AB. Now in place of AB I can write it as AE plus EB, and AE plus EB, where EB is 10 meters. So in place of AB I will directly write AE plus 10 upon BC. So how the two triangles are related? BC and DE. So that's why I will determine the value of BC from this equation, which is AE plus 10 upon root 3. This is the equation that I will get. Now further observe triangle ADE. In triangle ADE, with this 45 degree angle, this AE is the perpendicular and this DE is the base. That's why here also I can write tan of angle 45 degrees is equals to AE upon base is DE. Okay. So tan 45 is 1, so I will get DE is equals to AE directly. Okay. But as I have written previously that BC and DE are equal, which implies the value of this BC from this equation and the value of DE from this equation are both equal. That's why I can write AE plus 10 upon root 3 is equals to AE. So this will give you AE plus 10 is equals to root 3 AE. Okay, and from this if I shift this AE there, I will get the value of AE is equals to 10 upon root 3 minus 1 meters. Now since we have denominator as irrational, what I will do? I will rationalize this denominator. I will rationalize this value. For that I will multiply this equation by root 3 plus 1 and divide this equation by root 3 plus 1. Okay. So this will give you 10 root 3 plus 1 upon, now root 3 minus 1, root 3 plus 1 is root 3 square minus 1 square, that is a square minus b square, which is a minus b and a plus b. So you will get root 3 square minus 1 square, that is 3 minus 1, that is 2. Okay. So when you cancel this, this will give you 5, and at last you will get the value of AE as 5 root 3 plus 1 meters. this will be the value of AE that you will get from this condition, okay, and this represents this much part of the tower. But my task is to determine the value of AB. So the value of AB will be AE plus this EB or BE. So this will give you AE is 5 root 3 plus 1 plus 10. So this is the height of the tower, okay. AB represents the height of the tower. So in this way you need to solve this question. Just observe what I have done. I have drawn the diagram, determined the unknown quantity, identified the triangles, and then determine the value of AE. Why AE? It's because both the triangles are related with their base, okay. The base of the two triangles are equal. That's why I have determined the value of tan ratios, okay. So in this way you need to solve this question. Again, it's easy question, only the complexity is to identify the triangles and determine the ratios. If you are able to determine these ratios or identify the correct ratio, trigonometric ratio that need to be determined, so you will get the correct answer, okay. So this is the solution for question number 26. Okay, so first you note this, then we will continue. Okay, let us now discuss question number 27. We have discussed up to question number 26. Now it's time to discuss 27th question. Question number 27 says a window of a house is h meters above the ground. From the window, the angles of elevation and depression of the top and the bottom of another house situated on the opposite side of the lane are found to be alpha and beta respectively. Prove that the height of the other house is h times 1 plus tan alpha into cot beta meters. Okay. So let us try to visualize this question. It says a window of a house is h meters above the ground level. Okay, so there must be a ground level. So in question number 27, I need to draw a ground level first, okay, and the window of the house is h meters above this ground level. Let us say the window is located at this A point, okay, and this window is h meters above the ground level. I assume that window is located at this point A, okay, which is h meters above the ground. It means, for example, it represents the window of a house on the first floor, okay, or a flat on the first floor or second floor or maybe in nth floor in a building, okay. So in this manner, I assume that this A point represents the window. It represents the position of window. Now it says from this window the angles of elevation and depression. Okay, so there are angles of elevation. Angle of elevation means I need to move my head up, and angle of depression means I need to move my head down. So there are two angles of depression of the top and the bottom of another house which is situated on the opposite side of this house. Okay. So what is the another house? Let us assume this CD represents another house, and it's needless to say that this is a vertical. Okay, this line is vertical, this horizontal, it is perpendicular to horizontal, because the house has to be vertical, it cannot be slanted. Okay, so practically I have assumed that CD represents the another house which is situated opposite to the our first given house or the reference house. Okay, and what I am doing is I am observing the top and the bottom of this house from this building, from this window, from this point A. So what will be my line of sight? The line of sight to observe the top of this house is this one. Okay, this represents this AC represents the line of sight to observe the top of this building. And what is the bottom? This is the bottom of the house. So to observe the bottom, this AD represents the line of sight. Now, in which case there will be angle of elevation? The angle of elevation will be, it means to move head up. That's why I can very easily say that to observe this C point, there must be some angle of elevation. And to observe this D point, there must be some angle of depression. Okay. So for that, let us draw a horizontal from this A point. This is the horizontal. Okay. So from this level, I need to move my head this much angles upside to observe the C point. And how much it is given? It is alpha. Okay, the angle of elevation is alpha. And to observe the base, I need to move my head by this much angle downwards, that is beta. This angle is given as beta. So this is what the question says. I am observing this building from this window which is h meters above the ground level. Now what is my task? My task is to prove that the height of the another house is CD, represents the another house. So my task is to prove that the height of this house is h times 1 plus tan alpha cot beta meters. Okay. So to prove, what I need to prove is another house means CD. So CD is equals to h times 1 plus tan alpha into cot beta. Okay, this represents CD or the height of this house. This is our task. Okay, so we have drawn the diagram, we have identified the unknown quantity. Now what is the next task? Next task is to determine the right angled triangles that are getting formed in this particular diagram. I can mark this point where the horizontal from this A lies, which intersects this perpendicular. I can mark this point as, let us say, E. Okay, so this is E point. Now what are the triangles that you can observe in this particular diagram? I can see there are two right angle triangles which contain angle alpha and angle beta. Are the first triangle is triangle ACE. Okay, and the second triangle is triangle ADE. ACE and ADE. ACE, this is one triangle, and ADE, this is another triangle, and this is 90 degree. Okay, so we have identified the two triangles. Now what is common between the two triangles? I can see this AE is a common side between both the triangles, and further I can see this AB represents H. So what is this ED? This AB and ED will be equal. Why? Because this is a line which is parallel to the horizontal. Okay, and this CD and AB are also parallel. Why? Because this is perpendicular to this horizontal and this CD is also perpendicular to this horizontal. So what I can see is ABDE is a rectangle, and in a rectangle opposite sides are equal and parallel. So this is H. Okay, this ED is H, and the common side between the two triangles is AE. This is what we have understood. Now to calculate the length of CD, I can see CD is basically equals to CE plus ED. So what I can see is this ED is given in terms of H. If somehow I determine the value of this CE also, okay, in this CE also in terms of H, alpha and beta, then I can very easily determine the value of CD. Okay, so my task is to determine the value of CE. Okay, now further I can see in triangle ACE. In triangle ACE, I have this angle as alpha, and with respect to this angle, this CE is the perpendicular, this AE represents the base and this AC is the hypotenuse. But which trigonometric ratio should I calculate? I can very clearly see that in the proof I have tan of alpha. So tan of alpha, that's why I will calculate the value of tan alpha. Tan alpha will be equals to CE upon AE. It will be CE upon AE. This is what I will get. Tan alpha is CE upon AE. So this is the condition that we have got from this triangle. Now let us observe the second triangle, triangle ADE. In triangle ADE, I have this angle as beta. With respect to this angle, this ED represents the perpendicular and this AE represents the base. Now which trigonometric ratio should I calculate? I can see in the proof I have cot of beta. So cot of beta, that's why I will calculate the value of cot beta. What will be the value of cot beta? Cot beta is base upon perpendicular. With respect to this beta, AE represents the base. So this will be AE upon what is perpendicular? Perpendicular is this H. So this H, or you can write ED also, or I am directly writing H. So from this I will get AE is equals to H times cot beta. This is what we will get. Now use this condition to put the value of AE, to substitute the value of AE in this equation. You will get CE is equals to AE times tan of alpha, okay, where AE is what? It is H times cot beta. So here I can write H times cot beta into tan of alpha, and this is the value of CE. So I have the value of CE. Now my task is to find the value of CD, which is equals to what? CD is equals to the CE plus ED. So this is CE plus ED. So this CE is what? It is H times tan alpha cot beta plus ED is H. So here I can write H times, if I take H as common, in bracket you will be left with 1 plus tan alpha into cot beta, and this is the height of another building, which is the tower, which is H times 1 plus tan alpha into cot beta. So this is how I have solved this question, which seems to be a very difficult question, but when you start solving this, it's not more than 3 or 4 lines. And it is 3 or 4 lines only because if you apply the right approach. If you are confused in your approach, then this question may go in 4 or 5 pages. But our task is to identify the concept and apply the correct concept. Okay? Only to the point answer should be written in exam. That's why I have observed this, I have analyzed this equation, and I had found that this contains tan alpha and cot beta. So definitely I need to calculate the ratio of this, the tan ratio of this alpha angle and cot ratio of this beta angle. Okay. So you can see this question is very easily we have solved this question. It's question number 27. So we have completed 27 question. Okay, first you note this, then we will continue.